Hi, I'm Cherie Lindbergh, and welcome to Elevated Life Academy, where we share real stories of healing, hope, and transformation. Tune in to hear how everyday people are rising above and lighting the way for others. Welcome to another episode of Elevated Life Academy, and I am your host, Cherie Lindbergh, and we have a very interesting guest today. His name is Phil, and I'll let him introduce himself, and we're going to hear about his life story, his life about philosophy of living and stories of hope and healing, which you know, everyone, that this is what that podcast is about. So welcome, Phil. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Hey, thanks so much, Sheree. It's appreciated being here and you creating the space for everyone for the hope and healing and growth. I love it. So, friends, my name's Phil Januszewski. So I like to say I'm a speaker, teacher, and creator. But my journey started actually professionally. I've been a chemistry high school physics chemistry teacher for 20 years, and May 31st, 2025, after 20 years, was actually my last day. Had an amazing career. Loved it. Actually left the classroom a little kicking and screaming. I had one of the best years I've ever had after 20 years. But the truth is, Cherie, that I have been noticing that a lot of adults, especially in the giving fields like education, health, a lot of people dragging into work, feeling really either unmotivated, overwhelmed, exhausted, cynical, jaded. And I started looking at myself, and I'm naturally an energy outlier. I'm a very energetic person. My DNA is definitely the sunny side, my disposition for sure. So I had a lot of things going for me. Grew up in a really healthy, supportive home. So Sheree, I'm not a comeback story in any way. I mean, I was given a wonderful life as full of love in childhood. So I have every reason to succeed. However, I started in the last 20 years really thinking about what is it about me or the way I live my life that even though I'm experiencing work the same as some of my incredible coworkers, why am I showing up the way I am and why are so many people not? And I ended up getting this book as a gift from an acquaintance through LinkedIn. It was called Big Potential by Shawn Achor. And she reached out to me and said, Phil, you always do these positive things online. And because you're a teacher, I think you'd really like this book. Long story short, I read this book and it changed my life. I started getting into positive psychology and I started realizing that the way, Sheree, that I accidentally, just luckily lived my life was a way that allowed me to flourish and be resilient, even under the constant pressure and stress that educators feel all the time. And I started to just realize that I kind of won the lotto between my personality and how I approach life to be able to thrive. And that's where I got called to say, like, if I can do this, I need to start helping other adults. And that's why in May 31st of 2025 was my last day. I decided to go full time trying to help adult givers thrive more in their high stress, high expectation jobs so they can enjoy life more, but most importantly, give in the way they want. So that's what brings me here. And I think that's how we got connected. I met one of your wonderful coworkers or an acquaintance that saw me speak, and she said, you've got to meet Cherie. I think this is a good matchup.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And I wrote the book down. I always love to hear other resources that are out there. And thank you for sharing. My husband is a retired teacher as well, so totally understand, you know, where you're coming from with that. He retired in right before COVID. He was very fortunate to, yes, he was very fortunate. We say that. So tell me more. How are you going out? Are you as a speaker going out? Are you going into organizations? Tell me some of what you're sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I definitely am considered like a keynote speaker and a workshop presenter. But what I love to do, my signature talk is called Less Tired, More Inspired. And I love to do everything with high energy, very lightweight, nothing overwhelming and heavy. But I love to give adults three things through storytelling and interaction. Three things. First of all, do you even remember the things that you love that energize you.
Yeah.
Let's recap on what fills us up. In positive psych, they like to call that your ers. So I'm a teacher, I'm a father, I'm a speaker, I'm a music listener, I'm a weightlifter, I'm a cooker, I'm a baker. Not necessarily things that have to do even with your job or profession, but what are your ers that lift you up and fill you up? Once we know what those things are, and we start looking, givers tend to be pretty bad at this.
Yeah.
How are we actually intentionally scheduling that into our day? And at first, overwhelmed people, Sheree, I'm sure you know, they're like, whoa, 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 I'm not looking to add anything more to my day.
Right.
I'm looking to declutter. And we talk about that. What are the things we can get rid of? But I'm talking about little tiny 2-minute wins where maybe it's listening to one of your favorite songs in between two things. Maybe it's, if you work from home, actually giving yourself 10 minutes to create and cook a really nice sandwich that brings you joy. I'm a food person, Sheree. So like food and emotions are tied together pretty well there. But it's not like I'm saying to reinvent your entire life. However, if you start scheduling in intentional stuff, you slowly start to reinvent your life because you start to realize how much time we waste on things that don't serve us or our jobs. And we start replacing it with things that fill us up. And all of a sudden we end up a little bit more net positive. What I like to say, a little bit more thrive and a little less survive.
Yes.
Once we get to that point and we're thriving, not just surviving, then we can do what, gives us the most joy. We have the mental capacity and space to give to others. And I think we all know when we can help someone else, support them, cheer them on, give in our own natural, unique, quirky way, man, we create that positive upward spiral where we just start thriving even more. Now our life's a little bit more fun. We're helping people. And all of a sudden, like, we're more resilient. We're more patient. We're more calm and understanding with people. We're better at problem solving. And life continues to get better and better. But it can start with just these little tweaks, which isn't sexy, doesn't sound overwhelmingly exciting, but actually makes a huge difference in our lives.
I love it. I always talk about intentional living, conscious living, making those choices. So I completely understand where you're talking. I talk a lot about, let's connect you to your spark again. It's a kind of what you're talking about. So tell me a little bit more. And I want to also validate what you're saying, because I teach brain spotting to therapists, coaches, and yes, I travel all over the world, and you are exactly on target. Like, as a giver, they struggle to, like, they give their energy away, they give it to others, and they have a hard time giving to themselves. So can you speak to that a little bit more? What have you done with folks that you've come across?
Yeah, for sure. I think that givers naturally are resistant, and a lot of adults just end up being parents, and that is a very giving role. So whenever they do something for themselves, they naturally, accidentally, can almost feel guilty, like, oh, there's other things I could be doing. But I think we try to shift that mindset, and I'm sure you do the same thing. If we don't take care of ourselves first, we can't take care of the people we truly love at the height that we would really like to. So we have to really be okay with that. So again, the idea is that, can we practice one little win tomorrow that, even if you're uncomfortable, it feels guilty or frivolous, that's going to bring you joy? And I want you to try it. And then I want you to sit with it and think about your energy. And now think of it in a giving way. Now that I have this energy that I've taken in, conservation of energy in science, I can now give that back to someone or out to the world. We can't continue to give energy if we never take in. So some people say it's selfish to do for yourself, but I say it's actually selfish not to pour into yourself, because then you can't give to others. You have less to give. So again, switching that mindset is definitely hard to do, but you're absolutely right. People in public health, people that are civil servants, it's natural for them to think of others first. But when we can flip that around and allow ourselves to realize, yeah, I can give even more if I'm showing up energized, excited, enthusiastic, just calm and level-headed at my profession, I can do my job even better.
Yeah, that all makes sense. I loved how you brought your science in there too with it with the energy. Yeah, I mean it's bringing it full circle,
For sure.
because we all know like energy is not finite. Like you got to make choices of where you put your energy and so forth for sure.
Mhm.
So where did you come up with this idea? Like, hey, I'm going to do this full time. I'm going to go out and I'm going to encourage people. I'm going to motivate people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny. I've actually been a public speaker since 2013. My best friend and I have been youth speakers for years, and we
Wow.
accidentally were at a meeting at a school function and raised our hands to help with something that accidentally turned us into motivational speakers. We never planned it. It just kind of serendipitously happened. We just kind of said, why not? And then we really enjoyed it. But anyways, I had experience with public speaking as a side job for years being an educator. And then when COVID hit, I think, Cherie, and I really started to
Yeah.
see, I wasn't in an amazing place. I mean, I wasn't loving life. I wasn't enjoying my job. But because I had these tactics in place, these steps, I was flourishing or at least resilient more so than a lot of people. And I didn't go as far down the spiral as many people. And I started saying, now more than ever, especially when we came back to education, I think adults need this.
Yeah.
Really weighing on my heart. And it came to a point where I was already had a side job youth speaking that I love and I don't want to give up selfishly. And I was like, I don't know how to give more with the actual time in my day. So I had to make the tough decision that I felt my message was more important to the masses of adults and continuing to youth speak than it was to those 125 kids that I got to see every day that honestly I loved seeing and I miss a lot. I was actually at my school yesterday. I went and
Mhm.
visited my advisory group, which is a group of students I see all 4 years every day before they graduate. And they're juniors now. They've got beards and
Oh
they're
my
fresh
gosh.
adults. It was
Yeah.
so emotional to see them. But again, even though I miss that, I'm hopeful that if I can empower more educators, they can help more
Mhm.
students. And in the long run, I can help more kids that way. So
Yeah, I mean it's like a ripple in the pond. You're role modeling and who knows where those juniors are going to go. I mean, you made an impact on your advisory group. And I just love your energy because that's me too. I love watching people rise like
yes.
to their highest potential, to flourishing, especially in the world that we're living in today. That's why I'm like, I need to be out here getting connecting with people like yourself. Let's tell these positive stories. Let's bring some positive energy into the world and show people like how they can do it too. Like everyone can do this. It's not rocket science. Excuse that
Yeah,
terminology.
yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And, it's amazing too. I think sometimes people think that we have to do something grandiose to
Yeah.
change people's lives. But let me give you a quick story.
Please.
I had a student who came in non-traditional, was older than my other students, didn't know their background. Long story short, was a little worried they were coming into my class late in the year. They ended up being a wonderful student. We got along great. And even though this student was older than my 15-year-old sophomores, she was like a motherly figure and such a great addition. But I tell you what, that May before she graduated, things changed a little bit and she was a little prickly. Long story short, we got in a little bit of a tiff and an argument. And before she graduated, she never would speak to me those last 2 weeks of school. And it weighed so heavy on my heart that we had such a misunderstanding that kind of blew up that it really dragged me down. And it's one of those days as an educator where you ask, like, is this what I should be doing? Like,
Mhm.
and did I just ruin some kid's life accidentally?
Mhm.
I tell you what, about 4 years ago, I got a random message from this student that basically said that high school is one of the hardest times in her life. She's not sure if she would be alive if it weren't for some positive adults like me in her life.
Mhm.
Now, I tell you what, I had that heavy on my heart for years that it was one of those students that got away, not realizing what an impact I made on her life. Now, the
Mhm.
reason I'm saying this is because I didn't do anything extraordinary or special. I simply showed up as myself, my genuine personality, and genuinely wanted her to be herself. And just by being there, being able to show up as a flourishing adult and just present, that made all the
Mhm.
difference that maybe allowed her to be alive here today. Now
Yeah.
that's an incredible thing,
Huge.
ridiculously large story, but it
Mhm.
just goes to show you that it doesn't take much to
Right.
make a positive impact on the world. But I think sometimes, again, because of media, because of the news and online and viral videos, our brain tells us it has to be something overly extraordinary to make a difference. But
Right.
that's not true. Those
Yeah.
things don't go viral. That's just, but normal everyday life and being
Right.
present makes a huge impact on people. If we want to be the heroes that we really enjoy being, you just got to show up your genuine, happy, flourishing self, and it can make a huge difference.
Yeah. Well, I love that because I hear, you never know when you're planting a seed that's going to blossom years later. And then, like you said, understanding how you made an impact. For a lot of kids, it's the consistency, it's the role modeling. It's just like being there in your authentic self, even if they don't get it at that developmental time. Later on, when they can reflect, they're like, okay, this is what helped me through that time. So I really hear your story and what you're saying.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So where do you go from here? Like, what are you going to be doing?
Yeah, thank you. I right now my main goal is to just speak to and pour into as many adult givers as possible. So
Hmm.
going to all school, all staff, institute days. I'm headed to educational conferences and public health conferences and mental health conferences and just trying to spread the word to all these
Hmm.
people that are the foundation of our country. They're supporting people, they're building our future leaders. I feel like I'm so called to just help that heartbeat of our country, to help them continue to push forward because the work is worthy and is important, even though it's challenging, sometimes not respected by everybody too.
Right.
Hard to show up and do a tough job when you're not sure people support you, and things are constantly changing. From the book Tomorrow Mind, Marty Seligman, he was talking about how our work world is a whitewater rafting experience now, and that
Yeah.
you used to have one career your whole life. And now it seems like with everything changing, your job will look dramatically different about every 3 years. And that's going to be taxing on a lot of people who aren't open to being flexible, consistently growing and pivoting. And, obviously that's going to weigh heavy on a lot of people's mental health. So the goal is,
Mhm.
how do we help people do that? To be resilient, but also flexible because our world will consistently change. And I think if I can help them get better grasp of their personal life to show up to work, I think they're going to be more open to that change so that they can continue to thrive in an ever-changing world.
Yeah, and if we can support people and helping them with resiliency and the ability to be flexible and to see those changes as new beginnings instead of something that's taxing, that it's I get to, or this is an opportunity to do something different or to bring in some more of their creative power, to make some potential changes that are positive for themselves.
Mhm.
But I get what you're saying, that there's a large portion of our population that might still be operating from the paradigm, I've got to do this. I picked my career, I've gone to school, I picked my career, and I got to do this for 20 years. Then I retire. Because that's the way it used to be. But it has been changing rapidly.
Yes, yes. And I've been reading a lot into it just because it's fascinating, even like what the workplaces will look like in 10 years. And
Yeah.
a lot of people will have more gig-like jobs. I might not have a full-time job. I might have three separate jobs, and just one of them gets me health insurance. And I think people are going to be scrappier because you
Yeah.
can be with the way technology works and how you can work with people around the world. And agreed, if you look at that as exciting and a way to learn and grow, that can be really energizing. but it can also be terrifying if you're like, listen, I got 10 years left. I just want to do this because I like it and I want like no ripples in the water. I could see how that is overwhelming to groups of people.
Absolutely.
Wow. So it's
Well, yeah, especially when it comes to security, because that's one of our main things that we need as human beings is security. And if we're not sure where the next paycheck is coming from, that can certainly be disconcerting or uncomfortable for sure. So I hear you.
100%. You know, and one of the things I loved at one of the workshops I do, it's called 5 Happiness Hacks I Stole from Heavy Metal. And I take 5 of my favorite heavy metal lyrics and we break it down into the PERMA model for positive psych. But
Yeah.
2 of them are that challenges in the end actually make us happy. In the end, when we overcome them, right, they allow us to thrive. And I'm the first to admit that I complain when challenges come my way. But in the end, I look back and I'm grateful for the skills I built and sometimes the new relationships. And then the idea of learning, like when we're constantly learning and growing, we're also thriving. So sometimes when we get set in our ways and stuck, we can get that blah, languishing kind of feel. And it's like just something's missing. And sometimes we're forced to learn and grow. And though we're resistant to it, in the end, we're grateful. It actually energizes us and allows us to grow. But I'm the first to admit,
Sure.
thinking about change too, even though I'm trying to reframe it, you know?
I get you. I get you. I would complain too sometimes.
No.
So what are your ers?
Oh, thank you. I've so many. My zest for life is off the charts. So I just love living it. But things like this, learning, growing. I'm a learner. I'm a grower. I'm a networker. I'm a giver. I'm a pay it forwarder. I'm a father. I'm a partner. I'm a speaker. I'm a teacher. I'm a creator. I'm a music listener. I'm a weightlifter. I'm a lover. I'm a dancer. I'm a lot of things. I love it all. And but I'm extremely extroverted, so me connecting with other, like you said, Shri, connecting with other engines in the world that are trying to look for the positives, that are trying to push the world forward and upward.
Yes.
Those are the people I love because I feed off that energy, I suck it up, and then I can take that and give that to other people. And I think that's, you know, again, not to bring it back up, but the conservation of energy. Energy isn't magic. It just doesn't appear out of nowhere. When we can take it from others and then give it and keep passing it along, if everybody did that a little bit more, we would see dramatic shifts in the world and in our wellness too, I think.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you think would be really important for our listeners to know?
Oh, thank you so much for that. No, I mean, if anything I've said today through our conversation resonated, I'd love for people to reach out to me. If literally just Google my name, it's the worst last name ever, Phil Januszewski. You'll find me anywhere, but I love giving keynotes and pouring into people. But just like this with Cherie right now, I love conversations with positive humans. And there's a way that I can find to support you or introduce you to someone else that overlaps. It would be my pleasure. And then the last thing I do is twice a month on Wednesday nights virtually, I run a teacher membership group. So for any educators or former teachers that are looking for their positive people from across the country to just connect with, we don't really talk about how to like give better lessons. It's more like how can we as humans thrive more so that we can show up to our classrooms. If anyone hears this and is, you know, drawn to that in any way or would like to support that group and be a guest speaker, by all means, please reach out to me. But besides that, I'm on a mission just like you, Cherie. We're trying to make the world a better place in our own way and brand, and I'm here for it. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, well, thank you for being a fellow traveler on that path, and I wish you well. So thank you so much for taking time to be here and share your story and your enthusiasm and your energy with our listeners.
Thank you. It's fully received and grateful to be here. So I'm glad we met.